Alright, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we're going to be going over UFC Fight Night Canada, or UFC Fight Night Burns versus MALOTT. This is, to put it pretty straightforward, this is probably the worst card of the year. I mean, on paper, one of the worst cards of the year. When you got Burns, who's on a 4-fight losing streak, and then Mike MALOTT, main eventing a card, it's probably going to be shit. There's a few decent fights on here, though, that I'm going to end up breaking down and predicting in this video today. Um, if you guys haven't seen any of my most recent videos, go check those out. You can see my reaction to 327, and then you can go ahead and watch most over and underrated ranked fighter in each division, which I just uploaded yesterday. So go ahead and go check that out. And then I've been uploading a lot of shorts as well. So if you're coming from those, I appreciate it. And if you haven't seen those yet, go ahead and check all those out. I kind of just put a lot of rumored content or question and answer type content, so you guys can go ahead and check those out. But let's go ahead and get started here with the opening fight, bantamweight fight between Jamie Siraj and John Yanis. So Jamie Siraj making his UFC debut here from Canada, and he's solid. He's a solid fighter coming over from BFL. Was his last two fights where he fought and got both wins and both submission wins as well. And then you got John Yanis, who's been in the UFC for a little while, and actually no, he's only been in the UFC for one fight. I got him mixed up with somebody else, but he lost his debut. And honestly, I'm gonna end up going here with Jamie Siraj. There's not a whole lot I know about these two fighters. I know like John Yanis obviously has already fought in the UFC once before, last August. But Jamie Siraj, just it's Canada. We saw a lot of Canadians debut last year and do well, and he's just coming off of wins, and I think he's actually gonna do it by submission as well. I think he'll finish him. But yeah, these ones are tough. I could always just see him going either way, but I'm going to ride with Jamie Siraj. Last prediction, UFC 327, I went 9-3 on my prediction, so I did pretty solid. So I like to say I'm a pretty decent predictor. So hopefully we can try to go flawless here, but if not, just hopefully stay that nice, 9-3 area. I feel like that's a solid area. And then, so yeah, we're going Jamie Siraj by submission. And then on the next fight, another bantamweight fight, we have John Castenda versus Mark Vologin. Vologden. Vologden. Mark Vologden is a lot younger, and he's a decent amount shorter and has a decent amount reach disadvantage. But man, his last fight on Contender Series was an absolute banger. He ended up losing, but he just, he showed what the best defense is having a good chin. He's got that Diego Lopez defense out there. And then John is coming off of a few losses, but he has some decent wins in his career, but his last wins dating back to 2023. So I'm going to roll with Mark here just because I do like him, and I maybe a little biases in this pick as well. Like I said, I just have a feeling, like the youth, and we've seen his last fight, and it was a good fight. I mean, yeah, he lost, but it was still a good fight, and I'm gonna roll with him. I'm gonna roll with him by decision. So that's gonna be my pick for this one. And then we have a women's flyweight matchup here between JJ Aldridge and Jamie Lynn Horth. I want to say JJ Aldridge might be ranked. I think she's like 14th. But yeah, so she's going to be fighting Jamie Lynn Horth, who's from Canada, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, so Aldridge coming off of a decision win back last year in March, and then Horth obviously coming off of 2 straight wins, but her last win was on that last fight night of the year last year, the last fight night of the ESPN deal, and she actually literally got a first round TKO, so that was pretty impressive, and that's probably why she's going to get this jump into the rankings here. But I just think JJ Aldridge is just she's too advanced in my opinion. She's pretty high level, and she has some losses, but just some higher named people, and I just think JJ Aldridge is going to get it done by decision. So that'll be my pick for that fight. As we move up to Mitch Rizzopo versus Alan Nascimento. Nascimento is on a 4-fight win streak, actually, and his last win over Cody Durden last November. Um, and I just, he's pretty solid. His last loss was to Tiger Olabukov, the guy that's the Dagestani flyweight that lost to Horiguchi his last time out. And that's not a bad loss at all. And, um, you got Mitra Zopo, who started his career in the UFC with 2 losses and then just beat Azamat Maxim. And sorry, I'm looking down here to see the breakdowns because this on the screen doesn't give me enough. So I have my kind of like a script in a way down here. So if you see me looking down, that's why. But yeah, so I mean, I think this will be a pretty good fight. I just think Allen is gonna outvet him. He's got a way longer reach. He's a little bit taller as well, um, and I just think he gets it done by decision, I'd say. As we move on to the next fight, another women's fight. This one's in the bantamweight division, though. We have Melissa Croden, who debuted last Canada card, which was like the RDR and Brendan Allen card. And she got her debut win. Even got a late third round finish as well. And then she ended up losing on that last card of the year. So got her first UFC loss. But then we've got Darya here from Russia, and she's on a one. She beat Melissa Mullins her last time out. Her only UFC loss is Aline Perez, who's pretty high ranked, and I just think she's honestly a lot better, a lot more skilled, and I think she'll get this done by decision. As we move up to the heavyweight division here, we have Tanner Bowser versus Gokhan Sakikam. I guess it's kind of just heavyweights going at it. Sakikam making his debut here in the UFC, and then Bowser's making his UFC debut at heavyweight. He already was in the UFC before, 5-5 in the UFC. But yeah, I mean, I got Sakikam here by first round knockout. He's just, Bowser's not a true heavyweight. He's really a 205er moving up here in his later age. I guess you could say 34 is not crazy old in MMA, but, it's older. But I just think Sarikam's on a good run and making his debut, and I think that he'll get it done. I know Bowser's Canadian, but I'm going to ride with Sarikam. As we move up to this fight here in the middleweight division, the headliner of the prelims, we have Julian LeBlanc, who's debuting here in the UFC from Canada, and he's going up against Robert Valentin, who is 0-3 in the UFC. Well, 2-3 in the UFC, but 0-3 in his last 3, I should say. And yeah, I mean, in his last 3, he lost to Ryan Lauder, and Torrance Finney is like just not really a great loss. And then Gutierre, which he just got knocked out in the first round. But LeBlanc is obviously on a good run in the regional scene, and I'm gonna end up going LeBlanc decision. He's Canadian, he's debuting, and I'm gonna just end up going with him just because we kind of already seen what Robert is. So maybe Julian LeBlanc will bring something different. We'll see. But that'll be my pick for that. As we move on to the main card here. And we're starting the main card down here with Denis Bazooka versus Marcio Barboza. Barboza coming off the Contender Series win, first round KO on the Contender Series, and making his debut. And he's just another one of these Brazilian guys coming from the Contender Series that has amazing striking and will put anyone out. I mean, his last 4 fights all won by TKO. And then Denis Bazooka is just on a rough run here, 1-4 in his last 5, and 1-3 in the UFC. He's just not, and this will be his first fight in almost 2 years. So I'm gonna end up going Barboza here by first round KO. I think he'll get him out of there quick, and this will be a good fight for him to just try to move up that featherweight. Get a little easy win. He's a little shorter, but he's got the same amount of reach, so I don't think it'll be that big of an issue. As we move on to Thiago Moses versus Gage Young. Now I don't know exactly what the betting odds have this, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to go with the underdog here. And that went pretty well for me on the last card. I'm going to go Gage Young. He's a little bit younger, got the same height, same reach. But Gage Young coming off of a win last August. Um, I know Tiago is now with the Fighting Nerds, and you guys know I do love me some Fighting Nerds, but he's coming off of a loss to Flash Gordon. That's not a bad loss, but I think Gage Young is starting to get it going here. You know, has some losses to Quillen Salkill, Evan Elder, but you know, has wins as well, and I just think he'll be able to pull this out. He's the younger fighter. I think you know, he's a good boxer as well. Not crazy power or anything. That's why I got him winning by decision. But I'm gonna ride with Gage Young here as we move up to Jasmine. Uh, Sorry, like if I even try to say, like I'm saying her name in my head, but it's not gonna come out right. So I'm just gonna call her Jasmine. Um, Versus Karine Silva. I'm pretty sure Silva's another fighting nerd as well, coming off of that loss to Macy Barber on that card that I went to 323 back in December, and then Jasmine lost to Manon Fiorot on the last Canada card, but it was on a good streak before that. But Fiorot is a beast. Like, she's getting a nice drop down in competition to Silva. The only thing that scares me here is her age. I think Jasmine is just a little too old, especially at the women's bantamweight or the women's flyweight division. But I am gonna still rock with her. I got her winning by decision. I just think Silva's not all that great, you know. And I mean, Macy Barber's a definite like big step in competition for her. But yeah, I'm gonna ride with Jasmine. I think she's just the better fighter. You know, fought a lot of really big names and beat a lot of big names, and I just am gonna roll with her. I think by decision. Then we have Mandel Nallo as the next fight. He is debuting. He won his last Contender Series fight, and he's older for someone who's debuting off of Contender Series. 36 years old, going up against Jai Herbert. Jai Herbert's known for losing to Ilia Topuria. He's older than Nallo is. And I've got Nallo winning by a second round TKO. He's got good power, and he's what you would want an older prospect to be. He's kind of like a veteran out there who is going to be making his debut. And he's going to be making it in his home country of Canada. I want to say he trains with like GSP and all those Canadians. So I've got Mando Nallo. This one, I thought like Jai Herbert maybe at first, but like I think just the name of Jai Herbert was making me think like, oh, we're really putting a Contender Series guy against Jai Herbert. But no, I mean, after thinking about it and looking at some tape, I think Nallo is definitely going to be my pick here by second round knockout in the lightweight division. As we move on to the co-main event, now this is the fight that I'm looking most forward to: Kyler Phillips versus Charles Jourdain. Charles Jourdain has been on a decent little streak. He's got 2 straight wins. Davy Grant was a really good outing for him, and 2-fight submission streak as well. Kyler Phillips was once ranked, and you know his last losses were 2 ranked guys. I mean, Rob Font's not ranked anymore, but Vinicius Oliveira is ranked, and he was just a main event of a fight night that he lost to Mario Bautista. But I just don't rate him that well, honestly. Like, I think Charles Jourdain is just a lot better, and this is in his home country as well. And I think he'll go out there and get a win. I think he's going to win by decision, but I could see him getting a finish. It's just Kyler Phillips really doesn't get finished, so that's the only reason why I'm going decision. But I think Charles Jourdain's going to win this one for sure. And then we have our main event of the evening. We have Gilbert Burns versus Mike Malott. And I did do a short on this, just saying my prediction, not really breaking it down. But now I've got a better opportunity of kind of breaking it down. So Gilbert Burns, 39 years old, on a 4-fight losing streak. It's definitely tough situation for him. He's a lot shorter, and he's got a little bit less of a reach here. But I mean, obviously he was a 155er at one point, but I mean, if you look at his last 4 fights, which is his 4-fight losing streak: Michael Morales, Sean Brady, JDM, Bilal Muhammad. I mean, it's just tough for me to even like. It's tough for me to pick Mike Malott here because Mike Malott's on a 3-fight win streak. Kevin Holland's a good win. Charles Radke's an okay win. You know, Trevin Gills is whatever, but he has a loss to Neil Magny a few years ago, and I don't know, like Gilbert Burns, it just depends on what we get from him, right? If he comes out there and he fights how he fought, even, Bahal Muhammad or JDM or Sean Brady or even Michael Morales, Gilbert Burns could be walking out with a win. I don't understand why he's even taking this fight, because he's 39 years old. He's got a good legacy, even if he leaves on the 4-fight losing streak. But he's like, let me take this fight against Mike Malott, because it's not like Mike Malott's gonna be like he's like this big up and coming prospect or anything. Like, they're trying to push him as one because he's Canadian, and there's no real big Canadians in the UFC right now. Hence why he's main eventing a fight night in Canada. But I think he's solid, and I could see him getting a win. But even then, like, if Mike Malott beats Gilbert Burns and gets into the rankings, like, I don't see him matching up well against a ton more welterweights. I don't see him beating a ton of any more ranked welterweights. Like, Gilbert Burns is kind of just at that point of his career where all he does is lose. But I'm gonna go with Gilbert Burns. It's weird because, like, I feel like Mike Malott might be just the easier choice. They're in Canada and he's on a decent streak. But I'm just gonna roll with Gilbert Burns, man. It's just the vet, and he's been in big fights against big fighters, and he's kind of taken a step down. I know he's still in a main event, but it's like he's still taking a step back. So I think Gilbert Burns is gonna win. I have him beating him by third round sub, but I could see it going decision, just because that's the type of fighter Mike Malott is, and Gilbert Burns has been in decisions, even in his losses. But I have him doing it by sub, probably, just because it's a 5-rounder. Like, Mike Malott's never been in a 5-rounder before. I don't really see it going all 5. But yeah, I'm going to roll with Gilbert Burns here. So yeah, that's all of my predictions. Hopefully they all do well. If you guys disagree with me or have anything that I missed, let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe. Turn on the notifications, because I try to post at least like 3 shorts a day, and then about 4 videos a week, depending on what's going on and ideas and stuff like that. The UFC's got a lot going on, so there's a lot of content, which is great. So yeah, so if you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys leave that like and let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I will see you guys next time.